Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I laid the foundation for six-figure success in year one. If we've never met before, if this is your first time tuning in, I want to introduce myself. I am Kaela. I am one half of the dynamic duo that is Rise Leadership Circle. I always say that I have the best business partner a girl could ask for because my partner is my mom, Lisa Limita, and together we coach soulful entrepreneurs to live their yes life with a profitable business that funds it. So our clients are coaches, service providers, network marketing mavens, web designers, photographers, financial planners, chiropractors, people that are in the service industry, though we do have a couple clients that have a brick and mortar or are product based. And we really focus with our clients on the inner work of making the decisions, getting out of our own way to live our yes life, which is whatever your version of your richest, juiciest, dreamiest life is. And then having your business be the thing that comes along and supports it and funds it because you get to have a profitable business while living your very best life. So we're going to do something kind of fun today. And I think for the next few episodes that I do, Lisa and I kind of tag team and switch off here. So definitely, of course, listen to all of Lisa's episodes. But if you want more on the topic I'm sharing today, stay tuned for another one of my episodes coming up. A couple weeks ago, I put a Facebook post out with a picture of a campfire at my new lake house. And I said, if you and I were eating s'mores around my campfire, and you could ask me anything about what I've learned about going from feeling broke, worried about how to pay rent, and being $100,000 in debt, fast forward to revolutionizing my relationship with money, having big paydays, and multiple streams of income, what would you want to know? And the questions or the things that people wanted to know were so good. I'm so excited to speak into many of these topics. So I'm going to choose the first one of those. And this one's from Samantha. So Samantha asked, she says, what were the foundational steps that you took in the beginning? What kind of assistance did you take advantage of? And what was your mindset like in the beginning regarding spending, saving, paying off debt, paying bills, and opportunities? So that is what I'm really excited to dive into today. So thank you, Samantha, for this great question. Okay, so I'm thinking back to being in the beginning, and kind of the place that I'm going to give my answers from today is I am in the middle of my coach training program. So I have some knowledge to be a coach. I'm ready to start taking on clients, but I haven't graduated from my program yet. And I have just quit my corporate job. To me, that was kind of a big turning point because I was able to start taking on clients, and it's my full-time job now, but I still am kind of getting things up and running. That's the place that I'm starting at and where I'm really looking at where kind of year one in my business started for me. So I want to speak into the foundational steps that I took in the beginning and the assistance that I took advantage of really were one and the same, because the foundational steps that I took were getting myself set up with some big assistance. And the way that I went ahead and took advantage of the assistance available is by hiring people to be in my corner to support me. Now, of course, I did have a lot of support. Well, maybe I shouldn't say of course, but I did have a lot of support from my friends and my family, a lot of emotional support. So they were encouraging me, they were believing in me. And even if they thought, like, girl, you cray, they didn't say that necessarily to me. They were going to just really trust me. And I know that that really put me in a privileged place. I talk to a lot of people who do not feel like they have that kind of support from their friends and family. That maybe what their friends and family are saying are things like, you're really going to need to stay in a full-time job with a salary to have security, or maybe the people that they're around just don't really get the mission that they have or the impact that they want to make with their business. So I know how much privilege I had in having that support. And if you don't have that kind of support from your friends or family, that definitely speaks into why you would want to put yourself in a community of other entrepreneurs who get it, who aren't going to say that you're crazy and that your idea is wild, or even if they say it's wild, that they're supporting you to choose the wild idea when it comes to trusting yourself and really being all in on your dreams. So having that was kind of built in for me. But if someone doesn't have that, that's the first place that I would say to go, is to get yourself in a community of people who say, yeah, you can trust yourself, you can bet on yourself, you can believe on yourself. So there were 3 main things that I did to support me, and then a couple add-on things. I'm going to give you the 3 main things and then a couple add-on bonuses. But there were 3 people that I hired that I considered my foundational steps. And also it was me getting myself set up with the assistants that I knew would be a game changer. So number 1, I hired a coach. I had a coach in my training program. And now that program was coming to an end, I was about to graduate, I wasn't going to have a coach. And so the first investment that I made is I hired a coach. And my first coach was an investment of $500 a month. And let me tell you, I did not have that $500 per month, and I did not know where it was going to come from. And let me just back up a little bit, I guess, and I should kind of paint the picture for you all a little bit more about where I was at this point in my life. So if we back up like 10, 11 months prior to this, where I was is feeling unfulfilled in my life and in my career, knowing that I wanted more, but not knowing what the more was that I wanted. Ultimately then leading me to deciding that I was going to become a life coach and finding the program that I wanted to enroll in, but feeling like, how can I ever do this? How can I ever make this investment and make this happen for myself? Because I have so much debt. So I was $100,000 in debt with student loans and medical bills, and making enough from my salaried corporate America job to basically pay the minimums on all my bills and have like a little bit extra every month so that I could either like go get a nail appointment every month or maybe have 2 dinners out with friends. So I was basically just paying my bills, the minimums on everything, and a little way to splurge for me every month. And from this place, I decided that I was going to figure out a way to invest just shy of $17,000 in order to become certified as a life coach. And so the way that I did that was by getting a personal loan. And so I was already $100,000 in debt. And then I went more into debt. I took out a personal loan from my credit union in order to be able to invest in myself to have the training program. So now I'm getting ready to graduate from my training program. I'm leaving my job and I still have all of this debt. So that's the place that I'm in when I'm about to be making these decisions. So I still am going to be paying my rent, my health insurance, my car insurance, all the things every month, my groceries, my student loan debt, my medical bill debt, and the debt from the loan that I took out to go to coach training program. And the very first thing that I did is I hired a coach. Because with the commitment of $500 a month, which I said to myself, Kaela, you are going to make the money to pay for this. Every single month, when that $500 comes due, you are going to be ready and you're going to be able to pay for that. And the reason that was my number 1 priority is because for me, I did not see how I could be a coach without a coach. That would be like going to a dentist that never saw the dentist and never brushed their teeth. It just didn't make sense for me. So I knew that if I want to change people's lives, if I want to create transformation as a coach, then I best be getting my life changed. Then I best be investing in transformation for myself. And this really is just kind of like the walk my talk of I understand the power and the transformation that working with a coach can provide. And so I knew that I wanted to be having that for myself, that I wanted to be my own best client first. And that I needed to have the support structure to stay out of my own way. Because I know that all of the things that I knew, all the knowledge that I had, all the training that I had, there still would be things in my personal blind spots. There still would be patterns that even if I was aware of them, I might not know how to interrupt or have the awareness or the perspective of how to recreate that pattern. And it was going to be instrumental in having the big goals that I had, that I really had someone in my corner, someone who would look at what's in my blind spot, who would show me the patterns and the awarenesses and the perspectives that I wasn't seeing, and that would hold me to my greatest. And that's really something that a coach can do different than what our friends and family can do. So like I said, my friends and family were supportive. If I was having a bummer day or if I was feeling kind of hard on myself, my friends and family could do an excellent job of saying like, you've got this, Kaela, we believe in you, you're so amazing, which is really supportive and really important. And I needed somebody in my corner to say, okay, well, let's look at what's going on here. Let's look at the behind the scenes of this. Let's look at the pattern that you're operating. Let's look at the ways that you're not believing yourself, that you're not trusting yourself, that you're not following through with actions, that you're not showing up for yourself, that you're not taking bold moves or making bold asks. And that's really what a coach can do for you. So the number one kind of assistance that I took advantage of and the foundational step that I did was I set myself up with a coach. And the investment for me that I made at that time was $500 a month. I have since 10x'd my investment in the coaching that I have. So I've definitely gone on that as my income has increased, the way that I have invested in myself has significantly increased as well. The second foundational step that I took and the assistance that I armed myself for was I committed to a regular treatment plan with my chiropractor. Now, I'm not here to be an evangel for chiropractic care. I personally love it and choose it for myself. If it's not for you, that's all good. But the example that I'm making is I decided that my physical well-being was going to be instrumental. And for me at this time in my life, it was through chiropractic care. I knew that if I wanted to be hitting my goals and living at my highest, greatest potential, I needed my physical well-being to be on point. And the place that I was at with my health and wellness, I was being significantly and positively impacted by a chiropractor. And so I committed to a regular treatment plan. I committed to monthly payments and a regular treatment plan with my chiropractors so that I would never say to myself, oh, well, I can't really afford it this month, so I'm going to skip this treatment. But that I signed an agreement saying, okay, every month I'm going to prioritize me and my well-being. And the third thing that I did goes right along with that. I committed to a year membership at a boutique fitness studio, also signing on the dotted line that I would make that payment every month. So again, every morning I would leave my apartment and go and get a workout in. I would have that 55 minutes for me, where I would be unplugged, where I wouldn't be worrying or thinking, but I would be pouring into myself with the support that my body needed so that I could clear my mind and show up for me. And so I invested in 3 ways. 2 of those ways were directly supportive to my physical well-being, which also, of course, impacted my emotional and mental well-being. And then the third was hiring the coach, and that supported me as a human and also my business. So these were the 3 things that I did to set myself up with both assistance and support. And it was really important for me to make these investments in myself. I also know that there are a lot of resources that we can open up to that perhaps allow us to be supported without a big investment. And I think these are great too. I want us to open up to anything. But for me, I knew it was important that I was actually making investments in myself. Because if I was going to ask for other people to make investments in themselves by working with me, then it was important that my energy was open and in flow with that. That I wasn't just saying, hey, I'm not going to make any investments because I have debt, but I want anybody else to go ahead and make investments in themselves and working with me. That I had to really open up to that money flow. And I had to be in a space where, I have debt. I have bills, I have goals, I have dreams, and I can invest in myself. And I'm going to talk more about why that was so important in just a minute. So those are the 3 things that I did. And there was 2 more things that I think were also instrumental. And so if I really could say these are probably the top 5. My parents had been helping me each with a small bill. So I remember my mom was paying my cell phone bill and my dad was covering one of my smaller medical bills for me up until this point. And I was really grateful because I was really relying on that. But I asked them to stop paying for those bills because I knew that I needed the motivation to not just get by, but to have to make even more money than I had been making. Now, for some people, this wouldn't be the move that you would make. If you're already having a little bit of financial support and that financial support is crucial for you, I can understand that you might not make the same choice that I made. But I knew for myself that if I was like, oh, well, my cell phone's always getting paid, that I would slack a little bit. And that I needed that little extra boost to say, okay, Kaela, you have to make even more money than you're making in your corporate job because you have even more bills now. And that for me, that was going to be motivating. I wasn't going to let that be stress or pressure. I was going to let that be motivation. And then the last thing that I did is I made it easy for people to work with me. So even though the primary way to become my client at this stage, to hire me, was to work with me for a minimum of 4 months, I wanted to make it easy for people to work with me. And so I made a 1-month intro package that was a much smaller rate than my 4-month program. So it could be easy for people to be a yes. And that was important for a couple of reasons. Because number one, I had yeses. I had people saying, I want to work with you. And that created a little bit of cash flow for me, which was great. And number two, it allowed the people hiring me to see what it was like, to experience what it was like to work with me, so that they felt confident for themselves in continuing to work with me after that fact and really getting the value that they were receiving for themselves, and that they'd be able to work with me ongoing from here. So these are the 5 things all together. I hired a coach. I committed to a regular treatment plan with my chiropractor, aka pouring into my physical well-being. I committed to a year membership with the boutique fitness studio that I loved. I asked my parents to stop paying the bills that they had been paying for me because I knew that I would need that extra motivation to show up for myself. And I made it easy for people to work with me by creating a 1-month intro package instead of my previous minimum 4-month commitment. Now I want to talk about the mindset that I had when we look at spending, saving, paying off debt, paying bills, and being open to new opportunities. This is another question Samantha asked. So my mindset was, I'm going to invest in me. I decided to abandon the mindset of, I better pay off all my debt before I can have more. And instead, my mindset was, I'm going to invest in me. More is more. I am here to live my best life. I am here to have my dreams come true. I am here to make the impact and the mission that I'm going to make on the world. And the way that that's best going to happen is if I'm supported, is if I have the tools, resources, and people in my corner that are going to make a difference for me. And when I have those things, I will make more money than I was previously making, and it will be easier and faster for me to pay off my debt. So I decided that I wasn't going to cap or put a limit on what I thought I deserved. I wasn't going to say, well, Kaela, you already invested in 4 years of college. Shouldn't that be enough? Shouldn't you wait until your corporate job can pay all that off before you invest in a coach training program or working with another coach? And that I wasn't going to say, well, you've already invested $17,000 in working with a coach before. Shouldn't you utilize what you've already learned until you invest more? I wasn't going to do any of that. I was going to stay open to what was really for me. And anything that was aligned and that would be an ideal support structure for me, something that really was a match for me, I would find a way for it. I would be a yes and let the how work itself out on the back end. And this is a place where a lot of people get stuck. But I just decided I wasn't going to sabotage myself that way. I was not going to get stuck there. And so then what I started doing is as money was coming in, I would work on everything. I would put the money towards every bill. So at first, the first couple months, the money coming in was barely paying my bill. At first it wasn't. Like my boyfriend, now my husband, but at the time he was my boyfriend, he did have to help me out with rent and groceries at the time. So I was committed and willing that I'm going to pay my bills. And some months it didn't happen. Some months I physically did not have the money there, even though I was committed, even though I was playing for it, even though I was showing up for myself. I did not abandon my support in order to do that. I just asked for more support. And so some months I went to him and said, can you help cover rent this month? Or can you buy groceries this week? Or can you put gas in my car? Because I was honoring the commitments that I was making to pay for the things that I had previously just said that I invested in. So I was at first just paying my bills, making sure all my bills got paid. And then as I was having more money than what my monthly bills were, I was working a percentage system so that even if it was just $100 in excess and then $1,000 in excess and it went up, I would always pay myself, put extra money towards that, set money aside to be saved, and invest in more things, invest in my business. And so that I was moving everything forward. I saw that if I was just trying to focus solely on paying all my debt off before I could do anything, it was going to take way too long. That was what I had been doing when I was in corporate America. I was just trying to pay the minimums on my debt every month And I was just working, not making any more investments in myself. And I saw that this isn't going to work. This is not going to work because I only have what I have. And so when I made the shift to actually invest in myself, it opened up that there's a faster way to make more money. And the faster way is for me to have all of the things that I need, to have all the resources, all the support, all the people in my corner. And by doing that, I'll be able to make more money. And when that money comes in, I will work a percentage. I will put a percentage aside to pay myself so I can get a nail appointment and buy a smoothie bowl and do the things that are important for me. And I would put a percentage towards paying off extra debt, and a percentage towards saving for things I wanted in the future, and a percentage towards investing in myself and in my business. And in that way, I found that I paid my debt off significantly faster while having every area of my life come along for the ride. And my mindset here was debt does not have priority over me. So I decided not to have any shame over my debt. I didn't make myself wrong for having debt. Instead, I looked at it as I leveraged a resource to help me grow. I made a choice to take out student loans and to need to utilize resources to pay for medical treatments that I needed. I made the choice to leverage the resources from credit card companies and loan companies. And now I'm not going to make that mean anything about me. It's just a fact. I have debt. And I said, I'm honoring my agreements. Every month, I'm making the payments. I'm honoring my agreements. And the fastest way for me to be able to honor my agreements with bigger payments is to keep pouring into me so I can grow faster. And so that's what I did. I didn't make my debt wrong. I didn't shame myself, and I did not put a cap on how much debt I could have. I just continued investing in the support and resources that I needed. And then I showed up for myself and I followed through. And with every one of those things, I saw how I could grow more and more and more. And I let myself learn, and I repeated what worked and I shifted what didn't work. And as I continued to make more and more money, I put more of it toward my debt, seeing how fast I could pay off what would have taken me probably 50 years in the matter of months, just a couple years. And it was amazing to me how fast I was really able to do that. And the reason that I was able to do all of this is because I believed in myself enough. I decided that I mattered. I decided that my dreams had priority over my debt. It didn't mean that I would ignore my debt. It just meant that I wasn't going to let debt be a reason that I could not have the things that I wanted. And so I saw myself as capable, as powerful, and as someone who's worthy of having all of it. So I hope that this has been supporting you. Before we head out today, I want to make sure that you know about the Impact Challenge that Lisa and I have coming up starting September 25th. So the Impact Challenge is for you if you're ready to do less and make more. We are going to support everyone who joins us to get off the hamster wheel and take back your time so that you can be impactful rather than working so dang hard to get results. Join us for this 5-day challenge to learn these 5 important things. Number 1, how spending more time does not equal making more money. This is an outdated paradigm that keeps us burnt out and broke. Number 2, how making money is an inside job. When we upgrade our identity to realize that who we are is impactful, we become a magnet for money instead of chasing it. Number 3, we're going to teach you how focusing on making an impact is not the same as doing all the things. And if you currently are doing all the things, then you're likely not being impactful in the way that attracts money. Number 4, we're going to show you how reaching your biggest dreams requires you to become more of who you are, and getting there requires you to be willing to shift everything, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your identity to embrace your full power within. And number 5, we're going to show you how it will actually cost you more time, more money, and your joy to stay on the hamster wheel. And this is where eventual unfulfillment comes from. So the ROI of being impactful will show up not only in your bank account, but also in your schedule and your relationships. And this is where unlimited joy stems from. So go ahead and register to join us for the Impact Challenge starting September 25th. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you're listening to us so you get alerts and updates of when we have our next episode out. And let me know what you thought about this episode. I'll talk to you soon.